Is Reverend James L. Nettles in the audience? Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. We got it. Okay. No, I got it. Reverend Nettles. We're very happy today to have with us the Reverend James L. Nettles, pastor of the Mount Vernon Baptist Church, Westwood, to deliver the invocation. Reverend Nettles, if you come to the podium, let everybody stand and remain standing until after the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
With our heads bowed. Oh God, our Heavenly Father, we come to give you special thanks for this day and the privilege to assemble ourselves here in this place for the purpose of conducting governmental affairs for our city. Thank you, Father, for each of these our council representatives who have, through sacrificial commitment, given themselves into the service for the people of this city. Help us, Father, to be dedicated to the proposition of reaching a goal and making Memphis a place of good abode, where there will be no hunger in our children, no homeless for our families, no employment for those who desire to work. Lord, we thank you in faith because we know that all things are possible to thee, in thee, for those who believe. Bless this assembly here now, that we might do those things that are pleasing in your sight. And for this we give you the glory and the praise forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Nettles, if you'd remain at the podium.
Have you been elevated?
Give it to Councilman Lowry. Councilman Lowry would like to make a presentation to you.
Thank you.
For those of you in the audience who don't know, Reverend Nettles has served this community in so many capacities, and we certainly do appreciate all of his efforts. And one that stands out foremost in my mind, he served on the original council when we were changed from the commissioner form of government to the city council form of government back in 1968, representing the district that I represent on the council now, District 6. And we certainly do appreciate you, Reverend Nettles. God bless you.
Reverend Nettles, it's my honor to present to you this certificate designating you as chaplain today. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Comptroller, please call the roll.
Council members Hooks.
Here.
Leffler.
Here.
Lowry.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
McCormick.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Rubin. Sammons.
Here.
Sonnenberg.
Here.
Vanderscaff.
Here.
Whalum.
Here.
Wilbin. Chairman Ford.
We do have a quorum and the meeting is called to order. Will you please call the consent agenda, please?
General ordinance up for second reading. Item 1, ordinance number 4151. Item 2 is a resolution approving the standard sewer improvement contract for Germantown Dexter SC-1 sewers. Item 3 is a resolution approving final plat of Richwood PD Phase 9, case number PD 85-359CC. Item 4 is a resolution approving contract time extension for EIWM Incorporated Enviroplex, case number SUP 82-008CC. Item 5 is a resolution accepting River Ridge internal sewers and authorizing release of bond. Item 6 is a resolution accepting Riverwood Farm Subdivision, 6th Edition, Phase 1, and authorizing release of bond, case number S91-062CC. Items added during the executive session. Item 16 is a resolution accepting Richwood PD Phase 7, revised, and authorizing release of bond, case number PD 85-359CC. And item 17 is a resolution praising Cynthia Karen Holland.
Move the adoption of the items as read. Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
Could we possibly add item number 20, which is an item on for first reading?
Item 20 is not on. It was objected to in the
Oh, it
executive
was
session,
dropped,
so
it
it's
is
not
on
added.
for first reading?
No. It's been moved and seconded, the consent agenda to be adopted. Councilwoman Leffler?
I don't want to speak to that. I want to speak after we're through with that.
Please call the roll on the consent agenda.
Hooks,
Yes.
Leffler,
Yes.
Lowry,
Yes.
Marshall, McCormick,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Rubin,
Yes.
Sammons, Sonnenberg,
Aye.
Vanderskat, Whalen, Wilbin,
Yes.
Chairman Ford.
Aye. The consent agenda is adopted. Councilwoman Leffler?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request that we reconsider items 18 and 19 from last week's agenda. That's case number PD 89319 and case number PD 91330, having to do with the South Bluffs development and the Riverwalk.
Second.
I ask for this reconsideration for two primary reasons. One is I felt very uncomfortable last week and have grown more concerned as the week has gone by about the 2-year limitation. I don't think we ever do anything in 2 years, and I don't think we're going to build a river bluff and walk in 2 years. And the other thing is I question whether or not the $109,000 bond was satisfactory. And today, Mr. Rubin has shown me a letter that he has received from the city engineer, some of which he might like to share with you.
Councilman Rubin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I received a phone call this week from a constituent of mine. It was also a thought of mine last week, but I really didn't give in to it. But it had to do with the continuing integrity of the surface of the bluff. If, as a result of building the walk into the side of the bluff, that the integrity of the surface changed to the extent that maybe a home foundation on the surface were to crack or make some change that substantially affected a structure on the bluff. In that context, I asked the city engineer, Mr. Collins, who would have responsibility for that if that were to happen. And of course, there were many or several different considerations, primarily those being who actually did the construction, whether it was the state or the city or a combination thereof. Ultimately, and I think the key sentence in either case, the city or the state would be responsible and liable for damages to any building or land on top of the bluff, which might be damage as a result of the Riverwalk construction. I asked that simply in behalf of my constituent. I gave copies of it to several members of the council just for their information. It may or may not be something you may choose individually to take into consideration, but that's the information.
Councilman Wilburn?
Procedurally, we have not voted on reconsideration, the motion to reconsider yet, so I think we are somewhat improper to be discussing the matter until we vote on reconsideration, the motion to reconsider.
I don't really have any lights other than your light, though. I was responding to some comments that was made on the reconsideration.
I don't believe there's ever been a second.
Yes, there was.
There has been a second.
Again, it's been moved and probably second that, again, is this the purpose of actually dropping them from the agenda? Or
No, this was to reconsider. We acted on these last week, and I am moving to reconsider.
Reconsider them for the purpose of what? Dropping them or what?
No, changing the requirements.
Changing the requirement, okay.
That's what I have in mind. Some other people might have something else. I just want us to reconsider it. I'm not sure that we arrived at the wisest possible solution last week.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'm Herschel Feibelman, and I represented Mr. Turley last week. Inasmuch as a letter of Mr. Collins has been distributed, and inasmuch as my client has just told me that Mr. Collins said to him what he said last week, namely that there is no detriment to the bluff stability by the design that was approved. I wish if you're going to get, this is a very serious matter. It really is. The development of downtown Memphis, to some degree at least, hangs in the balance. Because if we can really reconsider everything we do, it's going to do a whole lot to incentive.
Can we vote on reconsideration?
I wish you would do this. I wish you would let Mr. Collins come down. At least if his letter is going to be read, I think Mr. Rubens is correct in what he said. That's essentially a legal opinion. If the city does something wrong, they can be sued. Anybody would know that. But I think if you're going to be swayed in any manner by what Mr. Collins has written, I think you would be well served to have him state to you again, as he stated last week, that this is something which can be done safely.
Okay, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Please, I have a question and that's why I pressed my light several
Yes,
times. Ms. Leffler, did you plan to reconsider that and make some changes and vote on it again today, or?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You are planning?
I think that would be terribly unfair. No, I would, whatever the will of the council is, but certainly not today.
Well, they had a...
withhold it till at least the 29th, possibly January the, whatever that would be.
Well,
5th.
my problem is that there was a time rush, and really I'd be more inclined to reconsider if it could be voted on today with maybe just some slight changes.
I'm sorry, but that would not be part of my motion because I don't think that would be fair to the builder. I don't understand what the time constraint is because, you know, they've got all those lots down there. Some of them are sold, a lot of them are not sold, and they're not waiting on us to start building. But anyway, that's the answer to your question.
The motion is technically not before us right now because it was made by Councilwoman Leffler, and she was not on the prevailing side last week. It has to be made by someone who was on the prevailing side.
Yes, I was.
Not according to the minutes, sir.
I don't care what the
Well, I don't care what the minute said. I voted for that. That's why they haven't been approved yet. No, she didn't vote for it.
There were only two no votes.
Huh?
There were two no votes.
No, she voted. No, Whalen passed.
Mr. Chairman, I can vouch for Councilman Leffler. She's really a very honest person.
That just says a little bit more for the argument that Councilwoman McCormick says these minutes going to have to get to us a little bit earlier if we're going to really look into it and make sure we don't all these mistakes stuff.
As I apologize, Jimmy and Mary Rose were the only two.
That's correct.
The minutes
And
are
I passed.
incorrect on that.
Okay.
I'll have to read the official
Okay.
motion on it.
Again, will the council call the roll on the reconsideration?
Hooks. Leffler.
Yes.
Lowry.
No.
Marshall.
No.
McCormick.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Rubin.
Yes.
Sammons.
Yes.
Sonnenberg.
Yes.
Vanderscaff.
Yes.
Whalum.
Yes.
Wilbin.
No.
Chairman Ford.
No. Yes, ayes have it. Again, Councilwoman Leffler?
Whatever the is the will of the council, we're not going to meet till the 29th, and the 29th, I understand, is really packed. So possibly January the 5th would be a good time to rehear, and that gives everybody time to marshal their guns and get ready to have a go at it.
Okay, you want to make a motion to delay these for
Move to
consideration?
delay until January the 5th.
Second.
Okay, if there's no objection from anybody on the council, items 18 and 19 will be held...
19, we voted on them together.
Will be held until January the 5th. Okay. I did have, again, I'm aware of one card in the audience that wanted to speak in reference to that, and I'll give you an opportunity to...
It's a little late.
Lay Davis.
Lee. I know because she's...
Considering, hello, my name is Lee Davis, and that's my card. Considering what the council has just done, because I was going to speak on behalf of delaying the reading of this resolution, I don't think it's necessary for me to give my cause at this
Not at all.
Thanks, all.
Thank you. Councilman Marshall.
Mr. Chairman, has that issue been disposed of? I'll pass it this time.
Okay.
Good enough.
Chairman, if you could call item...
Again, who has read the minutes of the previous meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I've read the minutes and found them incorrect, and I need to make some corrections. I'd like to move to correct the minutes prior to their adoption on page 733 in the fifth paragraph. Should read, voting aye, Council members Hooks, Lowry, Marshall, Sonnenberg, Wilburn, Ford, Rubin, Sammons, Whalum, and Leffler. Voting nay, McCormick and Moore. The vote being insufficient for passage, the chairman declared the motion failed. That's the item we reconsidered today, and that's where the errors were. I found no other errors in the minutes, except that I must add to the minutes a corrected copy of the agreement, which is going to be reconsidered. The corrections in the amended resolution to the final site plan simply are editorial, correcting some of the typos in it, and correcting a date from 95 to 96. Is that correct, Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
So I'd like to add that segment to the minutes as corrected, and they are correct on the segment. So with those changes, I move the approval of the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated by Councilwoman McCormick. Councilman Whalen.
Mr. Chairman, I just need to get that straight. What was it that you read all those names and then said the chair announced it failed? Was that the Riverwalk?
The chair must have announced that it passed, mustn't it?
Yeah, it had to pass, and I
Thank you for that correction.
but I also did not vote in the affirmative. I passed.
You passed. Thank you.
I think it was McCormick and Moore who voted no.
Thank you for the correction, and I apologize for the flustering, because it's just too hard to get these minutes just the last couple of minutes, and I won't read them again when you just bring them in at the last minute. So we're going to have to...
Councilwoman Sonnenberg, did you want to...
That was my question too, because she said they had failed, and is that what the minutes say, that it failed?
The minutes do say that it failed. The voting being, and that's going to have to be sufficient for passage, the chairman declared the motion passed. And I'm correcting that, Mr. Council Records person on the records itself. Thank you.
Please call the roll on the minutes.
Hooks,
Yes.
Leffler,
Yes.
Lowry,
Yes.
Marshall, McCormick,
Aye.
Moore,
Yes.
Rubin,
Aye.
Sammons,
Aye.
Sonnenberg,
Aye.
Vanderskat, Whalum, Wilburn,
Yes.
Chairman Ford.
Yes. The minutes of the previous meeting are approved. Please call item 15.
Item 15 is the election of City Council Chairman for 1993.
Councilman Marshall.
Mr. Chairman, it's my honor to nominate Councilman Jack Sammons for the 1993 chairmanship.
Second.
Again, it's been moved and seconded that Councilman Jack Salmon be nominated for the chairmanship for 1993.
Who's nominating you? Who's nominating you?
Call the roll.
Hooks, Leffler,
Yes.
Lowry,
Pass.
Marshall, McCormick,
Pass.
Moore,
Pass.
Rubin,
Pass.
Sammons, Sonnenberg,
Pass.
Vanderskat, Whalum,
Pass.
Wilburn,
Pass.
Chairman Ford.
Aye.
What is it?
6 to 7.
Six yes. 7 pass.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request if there's anything in the rules of procedure that require constitutional majority of the members for the selection of a chairmanship. I couldn't find anything, and Mr. Wade perhaps could elucidate on that matter.
Our rules of order do not address the requirements for electing a chairman. In default of our rules addressing the subject, Robert's Rules of Order applies, and I have not checked specifically, but it's my understanding that a majority of those present and voting is required to pass any item.
Present and voting?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, when you say present and voting, when you pass it, that's not voting, though, right?
Well, if you abstain, that's not voting.
That's not voting. So, again, your ruling is that...
I would double check that. I would double check.
Yeah, okay. We need to know on this because depending upon what he says, this
Mr. Chairman, as I recall, no motion was made to ever close the nominations. It seems to me that in the absence of that, someone else can be nominated, and I'd like to exercise that prerogative at this time.
From a technical standpoint, I'm not so sure. We just want to make sure we get the city attorney's or the council attorney's ruling on it, though. Again, if the people that pass, I'm not sure the 6 may actually be enough to affirm this. I'm not sure. It just depends on what his opinion is.
Mr. Chairman, could I be recognized?
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I don't know what our rules are going to say, but you and I have served on this council, I believe, 13 years now. And for the previous 12 years, we have operated in one way. If we're going to have a change of rules, I think it would be wise to announce it before we have any nominations or any votes. The way we have voted in the last 12 years that you and I have voted is that the first person to get 7 votes wins the election. I'm perfectly willing to go by some new system, but I think it ought to be announced before nominations are put on the floor and before we vote.
Certainly, I'm willing to do whatever the will of the majority of the council is.
I just don't think we should change the rules without an announcement. Or not change the rules, but change the custom if there is no rule.
Chairman, will you accept a motion?
I'm trying to get an opinion from our attorney, though.
Will you accept a question?
Yes, of course.
All right. If there is a rule that the people who pass are not counted as a part of the voting, then I'd like to know if we can have the opportunity of changing our vote to a no.
I think you could change it either way. I haven't announced anything yet because I'm trying to get some kind of ruling.
That. That's a good rule.
Mm-hmm.
I had a piece of your birthday cake.
Couldn't have even dealt with that right now.
I enjoyed the
That
cake.
surprised the hell out of me when they suddenly did it.
When are we going to have martinis?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilman.
Since you have not announced the vote, I'd like to suggest that we put this off till later in the agenda. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Under Robert's Rules of Order, it requires a majority of the members present. An abstention is the same as a negative vote in that case, which means that you have not satisfied your requirement with 6 votes.
I understand.
That being the case, Mr. Chairman, I asked earlier, would you entertain a motion to accept another nomination? However, Ms. Sonnenberg's motion, in my mind, carries a lot of weight. We have an awful lot of people here. It seems like we have a whole lot more important things to them to discuss. Yeah.
Again, I don't have any problem with putting on the agenda a little bit further on, but everything on this
Mr. Chairman, I would move that as we do with a number of things, we move this to the heel of the agenda and let's get on with the real business that these people have come. Bring on a motion.
let me just make a statement. Everything on this agenda is the real business of the agenda, though, and all of it is very, very important. I understand we have many, many people, and everything is very kind of emotional in the audience, though, too, and I understand exactly you want to get out of here as soon as you can. But I don't want to belittle anything that comes for this council. Everything is important, though. Certainly we can move this to the hill of the agenda a little bit later on, though. It's not a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Move it to the heel.
Councilman Marshall.
Mr. Chairman, having served on the impasse committee, it's your committee, sir, I would like to renew my request that we veto the impasse committee's recommendations before this council, remove it from the table, and vote on it right here and now.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion to override the impasse committee's veto.
Again, it has been moved and seconded that we veto the recommendation made by the impasse committee. Councilwoman Leffler.
I would very much like to hear, I'm sure we're going to hear from the union representatives, and I would like to hear from them. I would also like to hear from the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water people. I have here some figures that they gave to me, and I put one in your box, but just to be sure you have it in front of you while we're discussing this, I'm going to pass them around.
Okay, we can...
That's the state I was in before.
Again, at this time, we can hear from the representatives of mlgw, and then we'll hear from
Mr.
the
Chairman,
union.
point of order, please, sir.
Yes, Councilwoman Sandberg.
Could we set some ground rules and limit the amount of time that both sides have speakers? I know we...
Please.
I know we want to be very fair and hear all the testimony, but at the same time, we do have a lot of business, and we're... if you could set a reasonable length of time there from both sides.
Again, we're going to set a reasonable... Each speaker 2 minutes, and of course we've set some time aside for the attorney from representatives from both sides also.
But could we have a total number of minutes for either side?
With the cards that I have, we're probably talking about 25 minutes.
25 minutes per side?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Thank you.
Can we have the representative from mlgw to come at this time and make a presentation to us, sir? Again, we understand the emotional aspects that's involved here, but please, we're going to have some order so we can move this on. There's many people that's going to have to speak, and then we have many other things that are hotly contested items that's on the agenda. Please try to give us your cooperation as much as you can.
Mr. Chairman, I'm William S. Crawford, President of Light, Gas, and Water, and as I'm understanding the impasse procedure, the City Council has to either accept the Light, Gas, and Water proposal or the union proposal, and the impasse committee's recommendation was to accept our proposal. In that light, I hadn't come prepared to speak to this, but in that light, I would like to point out some things that if the union proposal is accepted in total, the impact that would have on Light, Gas, and Water. It's not that we're merely a 3.5%, the union is requesting, and we're at 3%. It's not that we're a 0.5% apart. In reality, the total cost of our proposal is $2,449,283. The cost of the union package is $6,335,871, for a difference of a little more than $3.8 million, $3,886,588 to be exact. The IBEW's proposed salary increases amount to 7.63% of our 1992 payroll. Our proposal, and what we've covered in our budget, is 3.38%. In our budget, we actually have 3.6% that we put in our budget to cover salary increases for our bargaining unit. If we take the 3.8, and by the time we look at the roll-up effects, we are very close to what we had proposed in our budget. The thing that I'm deeply concerned about is that the union, on the very first part of their negotiations, put 81 job classifications on the table. This is representing 909 employees of the 2,173 employees of the union. That's 42% of the union's members will get a salary upgrade, and those salary upgrades will range from 7.5% to 17.3%. Under the IBEW's proposal, union employees will receive an additional holiday compared to the 10 holidays received by the fire and police, and the average of all the Southeast utilities is currently 10 days. Upon implementation of the IBEW proposal on January 1, there's 55 union employees who each have in excess of 216 sick days leave. They will lose $125,000. Now that proposal is whereas the union is wanting to match what the city has of a flat 65 days, that if they accrue that many sick days, they can get up to 65 days. I fought this with our local over the past years because I felt we needed an incentive to accumulate sick days. We pay 30% of the accumulated sick days to employees at retirement. These 55 employees here would lose that. I had employees calling me the other day. I've had both management and union employees calling me concerned if this is going to affect them, they're going to retire prior to January 1. I've got one employee in our engineering department that called me yesterday that's a very valued employee, and I had to tell him I'd do the best I could that would not apply to him because he was not in the bargaining unit. The union's package, if we do that, will cost us an additional 393,223 days. I would like for the council to be cognizant of the fact that medical premiums have been rising at 14% per year for the last 6 years. We're self-funded, and we paid out some $18 million, and if that trend continues, our medical premium cost will be $52 million by the year 2000, and will be approximating our payroll. We have done some things within our proposal to try to curb costs, and it was interesting to me to be down here before the council committee last Tuesday and getting there early to hear the city's problems in this area of medical costs. And as I understood it, the city's $3.8 million in the hole now in their medical program, and the council members are saying they wanted to get that to a break even within 2 years. With costs rising at 14%, and you're trying to make up $3.8 million in 2 years, you're going to have to look very hard at the benefits that you currently give within your medical benefit program. We try to keep a margin of 25%, not break even, but 25%, so our employees that have catastrophic illnesses, and today with AIDS and other type of illnesses that loom on the horizon, I want to give you an example. A very close friend of mine at Light, Gas, and Water for many years came down with cancer. After he retired, he called me numerous times and said, is there anything you're going to do to raise the lifetime benefit under insurance, because I'm approaching $500,000, and that was our limit on our PPO program. We now have that to $1 million, but if we get hit with those catastrophic type things, we've got to have the dollars to fund that, and I certainly would ask you as a council to consider that. Last but not least, I want the council to understand this, that the IBEW proposal will require an increase in the amount of our rate increases we've already requested. For 1993, we had 2.66% as a rate increase in electric. We would need to raise that to 3.02% to fund this. That's a 0.36% increase. We've got a 4% in gas. We'll need to raise that to 4.56. We've got a 12.24 in the water, and we'd have to raise that to 13.74, 1.5%. I simply propose to the council that we got down here at impasse with the union in one position and we were over here. That's unfortunate. I would hope we could have met somewhere in the middle. But we have got to look at what we're doing. This one thing in here on salary upgrades alone will totally destroy our salary administration program. You'll never convince me that there's 81 job classifications in this company that we've got messed up to the extent that they all have to be upgraded. We survey the whole utility district in the valley. Now there's some jobs, and we had agreed to some jobs, but not 81 classifications involving 902 people within the bargaining unit. Thank you.
Do you have anyone else that's to speak from mlgw?
Not at this point.
Okay. I do have quite a few cards from the orders. I have them in a particular order. Mr. Willie Burnett. Give us your name and address for the record, Mr. Burnett.
Willie Burnett, I'm Chief Union Steward down at mlgw. But before I start, I need to make sure that the council know and understand that I've been denied permission by Barbara Richmond, the Assistant Business Manager, Labor Relations, and Wade Stinson, the Personnel Manager, not to speak in front of the public. Said I will be fired. And this was approved by Dwight McClure. So I need to make sure that I am not retaliated against because of, my speaking.
Continue.
Okay. Since I got a few minutes to talk, the reason that the budget is so high at mlgw is management's fault. It's not Fred Ashwell's fault or IBEW local members. We have, for instance, when Guy Coder was a supervisor, he retired. When this supervisor retired, they replaced his position with 3 supervisors. All of these supervisors takes cars home. When this supervisor was replaced, they had to make 2 foremen to replace as well as 2 supervisors. Now, this job could have been done at a cheaper cost to the ratepayers, but for some reason, management decided not to replace those foremen with employees, 2 lead people and a foreman. It would eliminate the supervisor's job. Now, this is going on in a lot of different departments, but because of the time limit, I'm just going to run through some of it. Now, Fred talked with management, tried to get management to go along with changing some of their structure. Okay, we got full-time tellers at a grade 5. We got part-time and full-time credit clerks at a grade 8. The full-time grade 5 makes $10.74 an hour. The full and part-time credit clerks make $13.45 an hour. Now, Fred tried to get management to go along with letting these full-time tellers work out of class and paying them, which is 45 cents an hour, which would come to roughly about $11.19 an hour, which really would bring a savings of $45.20 by working these full-time tellers out of class. But for some reason, management decided no, they wasn't going to go along with that. Okay, we got a lot of departments which are interchangeable. Like we got the North Community Center office, the Whitehaven office, and the Summer office, and the Lamar office. Okay, all those departments have the same thing. They have chief clerks, the employees, supervisors. Those jobs can be done with lead people in those positions. That would produce a great saving to the ratepayers. Okay, at the Middleton office, they have a lead credit clerk. Now, the thing about this department is it's under customer service. It should have been up under credit and collections, which is my manager. But This lead clerk is a grade 9. A lot of other areas up under customer service have the supervisor, an assistant supervisor, and employees. If they replace those supervisors with lead credit clerks, at a grade 9, it would be a great saving to the taxpayers. You got to look at all the EOC charges, which management for some reason wants to try to fight, and they end up making 2 jobs instead of the price of 1 at the ratepayer's expense. Fred cannot stop this. This is management's doing. Okay, we got race discrimination at Like S and Water. This is not Fred's doing. This is management's. I gave all the council members a package. It's got an arbitrator's report in it that says that Mary Manor manager at Central Shops had support from Ananias Dixon at the EOC office, Michael Magnus, a personnel manager, Dwight McClure, Like S and Water chief negotiator against Fred, and Supervisor Charles McAlpin, another supervisor, Al Burrell. When you count up these 4 managers, the 2 supervisors that was involved, and the 1 employee that helped conspire to fire this 1 person, you look at the side of it's close to $500,000 to help railroad 1 employee, and it had to go on. And the arbitration case itself had to pay for this stuff. And so that would have been a cost if Dwight McClure and the upper management would have listened to Fred Ashwell. But there's nothing Fred can do about it besides arbitrate the cases. Okay, Donald Robinson.
You need to bring your remarks to a close.
Okay. Well, you had a manager making over $69,000 a year who's supposed to have been stealing over $100,000 worth of material. You turn a request for him, management haven't did anything about it. And so that basically sums it up, since I have just a short time to talk about it. And then we had a supervisor record, Gloria Gary and Jack Morrison, who had used up all the sick days, and Gloria has over 30 years with no sick days, not 1 abuse letter. But yet Dwight McClure wants to penalize the poor people even more. But in the short time, since you said speed up, that's all I can say. But you do have a package to look at, and you can see everything I've said. But I wish I had more time.
Thank you. Mr. Brent Hall. Name and address for the record, Mr. Hall.
Brent Hall, 6633 Palomino Drive. I think I'll probably apologize first off because I don't have any facts and figures. Because I'm a lineman at Like Gas and Water, and I hang off a pole for 8 hours a day, and it's kind of hard time finding to get a notepad out. I won't speak from my standpoint. I'm not on one of those 81 jobs to be upgraded. But with what we're dealt with right here on our medical insurance, it's going to hurt people like me. It's going to get in my pocketbook, and the percentages on the rate increases, the percentages on the raises, the upgrades. I'm looking at insurance, and a lot of people out here are looking at insurance. There's more than 81 jobs in this company, and medical insurance is one thing. I know it's skyrocketing, but we don't have any control over that. We do the best we can with it. Doing the best we can with what we got. One thing I think y'all need to be very aware of is with the company's proposal, it's going to cap our life insurance. It's going to cap my life insurance at $100,000. $100,000 is not a whole lot of money. Sounds like it, but it's not a whole lot when I'm gone, and my wife has to take care of my 2-year-old. And just recently, like in the past 3 or 4 months, I've been trying to buy extra life insurance because I got a good friend sitting out here right here with me today. A guy I climb with every day at work. It was in a near fatal accident just because he's trying to keep people's lights on here at Like Gas and Water. Now, we're one of the few companies in the United States, and I know for a fact because we've been in contact with other utilities. We're one of the few companies in the United States that work as much wire hot as we do. Just keep people's lights on. Just keep your TV on. And we're taking... After he got burned up, which, you know, a lot of people don't find out about that. Y'all never hear about times when we take chances out there. We get people that get hurt bad out here. And after that happened to him, I spent the next 3 or 4 months taking care of this man. I'd do it again in a minute. But it made me start thinking. And I tried to buy some more life insurance. I can't buy it on my salary. I talked to a half a dozen different companies, and they've all got my job rated in the top 5 worst jobs in the United States. Now, you can think of what the premiums would be like. And, you know, that's something that kind of gets close to me. And, you know, another thing I think a lot of people look over at this company is how much these people sitting out here behind me and myself contribute to this city. You know, everybody thinks just because you got a job at Light Gas and Water, you got it made. Well, that's not the case. You know, we take a lot of slack from the public, and we get tired of it. But we have to live with it, just like y'all have to live with it, and the company has to live with it. But we do a whole lot for this community. I just got finished serving as the other half of the chairship for the United Way steering. I was on the United Way steering committee. I was co-chair for the union. We raised $450,000 for United Way this year. And we did a lot for this company. We did a lot for this city. And it wasn't just hours I put into this company. My wife knows as much about United Way now as I do, because I took it home with me every night. And we do a lot for this community, and I think, you know, they've got to realize they've got a good utility, but the utility is built by the people who are working here. There's a lot of things that the company can cut back on. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of things that both sides we know. If we work together, we can make this a better place and we run it more efficient. But the thing I'm going to ask all y'all to feel for us, and I'm just speaking because I'm a lineman. The next time it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're laying in your bed and you're all warm, and your heat's running, and your water's running, and your lights are burning, think about me. Because at 2 in the morning, when the lights are off, and it's 20 degrees outside and it's pouring rain, I'm going to be out there hanging off on the side of a pole somewhere, putting my life on the line just to keep lights on. I just ask it, if y'all would keep that in mind, because I like my job, I like what I do, I'm proud of it, but I want to get something for it, and we do. I think a lot of times the people in Memphis they overlook us.
Bring it to a close.
They overlook us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Miss Shirley Ballantyne.
God bless you. I am Reverend Ballantyne. I'm a credit clerk counsel at the North Community Office on Summer Avenue. Sir, I do need permission to speak because I was told by Assistant Labor Relations Manager Barbara McClure that I would be terminated speaking concerning anything with Memphis Light Gas and Water.
You don't need any permission to speak for us. I can't say anything about anything. We'll say it. Only thing you can just, if something happens after the day, then you can contact us. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Praise God.
Again, before I want to just stress it again. I mean, the time is moving. There's quite a few other cards. Please, you're just prolonging the whole evening for all of us. If you could just keep the emotions down as much as you can. And I understand it's emotional now. Try to contain yourself as much as you can. No, continue on.
My concerns are the health care program, the entire package. Health care is important to our lifespans, as well as the productivity on the job. And many of us have some kind of afflictions. Part of the package concerns doc on the second time the same type illness occurs. Many people suffer sickle cell anemia, diabetes, kidney machine problems, asthmatic, high blood pressure. Some are heart attack patients. We have these people at Memphis Light, Gas and Water performing duties every day. I happen to be one of them. And there are days when I get out of bed or try to get up and I have problems and I need to relax that day or take medication. There are times when diabetics have problems with reactions from the medication. And having docs and being doc for the same illness after one or two occurrences is a very high concern. I worked with Memphis Light, Gas and Water 2 years with perfect attendance, with no sick days or absentees. This past year, I've suffered so much harassment and retaliation on the job. I've continuously been in and out of the doctor's office. Another thing I'd like to bring out is we voted for all of you because we felt that you were for the people and what was best for the people. I spent time not only in the union office but in my home and church doors campaigning and asking people to vote for this staff here. Another thing that's very important and I'm concerned about is I don't want to see a height put on the taxpayers. I happen to be a taxpayer. I think that Memphis Light, Gas and Water can handle this problem, give us our raises, can raise the job classifications without putting a height on the taxpayers. We have in the United States one president and one vice president running this country. In Memphis Light, Gas and Water, we have one president and 9, and I remind you, 9 vice presidents. We have positions in management that we could cut back on managers and stop making management positions. We could solve grievances before they get to arbitration. We could solve court cases that have been pending over 5 years with the company to cut back on cost of legal expenses. The company could let the legal department handle their legal problems and stop hiring 5 and 6 different law firms outside of the division to work with their legal department. We have also abuse of sick time, but that sick time does not always apply to the lower paid employees. We have management people who is abusing sick time and getting paid for days that they are off sick. And if you look in your pack, you'll see everything that I'm speaking about right here now.
Please bring your remarks to close, too.
As I bring this to a close, I believe that this council is going to do what's right for the people.
Mr. Charlie Austin. Mr. Austin, give us your name and address for the record, though.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out this afternoon. And I'm here speaking for all of my brothers and sisters. And I want to thank all the city council for their support.
Give us your name and address for the record.
My name is Charlie William Austin. I live at 2255 Marble Street. And I work in the gas department. And I'm very embarrassed to be here today because if manager had act right, we wouldn't be here today. And whether manager know or not, some of us here today are still working with this company. We made this company with a hammer, a sludge hammer, and a pick and a shovel. But when it's come time for us to get a raise, there's no money around. And but there's money around to hire two presidents in the press, vice president, and two vice presidents take care of, make more money than 10 utility workers in the gas department. And there are some of us I was speaking about that hope made this company with a pick, shovel, and a maul. We used to have to use the maul to knock the pipes across the street. And some of us haven't had a pay increase in 14 to 15 years. And we need that money. So when we have to feed our family, and just like the president, vice president do. So we're asking for your support. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. J. Buffett.
Mr. Chairman, City Councilman, a few years ago...
Give us your name and address for the record, Mr. Buffett.
J. Buffett, 4395 North Germantown Road. A few years ago, companies started getting employees involved in making things work better for the company. mlgw did the same thing. They did it in the form of action teams and quality circles. Some of the names of one was the Bill Busters from Customer Accounting, Brains on the Go from Work Management, Quality Control, Brunswick Innovators from Gas Distribution, Bumblebees from Credit and Collection, Fabulous Fabrication Central Shops, Hickory Hill Hikers Water Distribution, SMAC Electric Operation, System Integrators, Terminal Headsets, and Water Dynamics from Water Distribution South. Some of these quality circles and action team accumulated a savings of $1,061,673.04. That was just one of the teams. Another team implemented a program proposal that earned $190,000 for the division. Most of the private companies receive bonuses for this kind of work when employees are involved and show the company a savings. mlgw employees don't receive these kind of bonuses. But when contract time rolls around, this is what only thing that we are asking for is a fair shake when we are asking for an increase. We feel like the work that we do, that these teams have done, that it wasn't part of the job. It was something that they volunteered to do. Most of these teams are made up of bargaining unit employees. And the only thing that we're asking for is a fair shake as far as the proposal that we put before you. We are not asking for a insurance hike where we won't be able to pay for our children going to the hospital. We're not asking for the package that mlgw proposal where a person is in the hospital sick themselves. If they've been sick twice before, they'll be in dock 3 days before they can receive any pay.
Thank you. Mr. James E. Hamilton.
My name is James E. Simonton, 4216 Long Creek Road. Mr. Chairman, I will ask for an exemption in my self-dock because I do not represent the union, not affiliated with them, nor the management. I'm president of mlgw Retirees Club, and I propose to speak primarily to what changes might affect retirees. And I would respectfully ask that I follow both groups after they get through, if that's permissible.
You can go ahead now. You can go ahead right now.
Yeah.
You'll go ahead now?
Go ahead now.
Okay. I appreciate the opportunity to address you at this time. What some of the employees of today spoke about were true 40 years ago about the division, what the employees did in time of need for the community, because I can remember in 1950 that we had one good storm here, and there was no question about what your duties were, what you had to do, what needed to be done. In 1952, I believe it was, we even had a worse one. That recall one time I was on duty continuously for 32 hours. I knew what my job was, what needed to be done in order to serve the community, serve the customers, and we got the job done back then. Today, I do address it for the retirees, and the primary thing I would like to address is the insurance, the proposed changes in the insurance. When we retire from mlgw, we know from day one what our base retirement pay is. That will not change. It's locked in, and the only exception will be to increases due to the results of investment plans. Sometimes it's been good, sometimes medium, sometimes fair. I served 14 years on the pension board, mlgw, and elected by my fellow employees, not appointed. So I'm not a Johnny-come-lately in what I'm talking about. I've been on both sides of the fence. I was represented by the union at one time, and I effectively moved up into management before I retired. So I've been on both sides and know what I'm talking about. The proposed changes in the insurance, of course, will affect the current employees. The negotiations that went on this past few months, the retirees were not represented in any way. We had no voice, no recommendations to make to anyone. We were not given updates on current conditions other than the fact that the costs were going up all the time. How much and how they would affect us, we didn't even know that. These changes and proposals will affect every retiree that's on the payroll today, to the extent that the old saying, what the Lord giveth, somebody else is going to take away. The only way that you can come out even on this, for the retirees today as far as their pay, would have their retirement pay increase correspondence
Please bring your remarks to a close.
To what they're...
Bring it to a close.
Sir?
Please bring your remarks to a close.
To what their pay is. I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. I wish you had granted me more time since I was kind of in the middle of this thing to get in depth with it as far as retirees, but there's approximately 1,400 of us regular retirees out there today that I know I speak for them. If they're not happy with the proposal, some of these increases will jump 25% in the second year. Medicines, prescriptions, one will go up 60%, but they're going to have a 40% decrease on a generic type deal. So it's not a satisfactory deal for the retirees. And I thank you for your time.
Mr. Sam Posey.
My name is Sam Posey, President of the Memphis Firefighters Association. I can understand and I feel for these employees because the firefighters have been in this impasse position for 2 times now, and y'all know how we feel about the procedure, and we can understand what these employees are going through. I can also remember 5 years ago when we came before the council. Fred Ashwell, who was a member and the president of ibew, came to the council on our behalf and asked the council to look at the firefighters and judge what you do on the firefighters and compare our salaries and our working conditions with other firefighters across the United States. And that's the reason that we went to impasse. We're here today to ask y'all to do the same thing on behalf of the ibew local and compare them with other utilities. I heard Mr. Crawford earlier want to compare vacations with fire and police. Well, I can remember at the last impasse procedure where another local came to the council, and they do now have 11 holidays. So don't compare apples with oranges. Let's get the facts, judge these people on their own merits, and vote for the employees at this procedure.
Mr. Fred Ashwell.
My name is Fred Ashwell. I'm business manager of ibew Local 1288, 4000 Clearblue Circle, Memphis, Tennessee. I know what I've got to say to some of you has about as much significance as a drop of rainwater in the river out there, but I'm going to say it. You've looked at the little summary of the impact, and I can't say whether those figures are accurate or not. I don't have any idea. We've heard a couple other figures, so I don't know. I assume these are the final figures, and they may be correct. And listening to some of the things that's been said here by Mr. Crawford about some of these things, listening to what was said at the impasse hearing, you would categorize us as heartless, selfish, inconsiderate crooks. You know, the tone of $3,886,000 makes us look like we're crooks. Well, we're not. We're representing this community. This is this community. These are the ratepayers. These people have never come down here and asked you for a thing. Employees of Memphis Light, Gas, and Water have never once tried down here to ask you for a thing. Now, seems like this is a big concern about $4 million difference. Well, I assure you that $4 million is not going to be put in a suitcase and stuck on a bus and carried out of town. That $4 million is going to go back into these folks' pocket, who in turn buy groceries in this community, who in turn go to the doctors in this community, eat at the restaurants, shop at the department stores. In fact, that money is going right back into the economy of this community.
not asking for a lot. I didn't come up here to create a problem. We're asking for a fair shake. We have skilled crafts at the company, and I'm talking about skilled crafts, that are paid 28 cents an hour to $3 an hour less than the same skilled crafts down here at the city. Now, when I sit through the impasse hearings, I heard a comment about fiscal responsibility. Well, if you'll take a look at mlgw management salaries and tell me that's fiscal responsibility, you could call me the Easter Bunny. Now, all we're asking for is a fair shake. They have a program down here today that they apply $12.50 a month to employees who belong to a health spa. Now, they say they're only going to allow so many to belong, and I'd just like to know who they're going to pick to belong. Now, why can't that $12.50 be applied to the health care package? And let me point something else out. I have never, ever refused to sit down and deal with health care. We have made changes in health care over the years, and we made some changes at the table this time. We just wouldn't agree to all their changes. We would not agree to all of them. We agreed to wait till next year and sit down and deal with the problem if we had one. But when the insurance system is going to be in the black for the first time I can remember in 10 years at the end of the year, projected to be, there was no need to make a tremendous amount of change. There was nothing wrong at that point. Now, all I'm asking you for is a fair shake. All these folks are asking you for is a fair shake. Now, like I said, we're not taking the money out of this community, and I apologize to you folks for bringing this down here, and I apologize to my members for being put through what they've been put through. I apologize to them for what could very well happen to them tonight. It's because you vote the wrong way. And I hope they find in their heart to forgive me for what's happened here. But I implore you to look at what we're talking about here. And I'm not going to debate their rate increase with you, but they're asking for something to the tune of $28 million. Well, we're asking for $4 million, and it ain't going into no damn concrete building. It's going into the lives of these people and their families. That's all we're asking for.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Mark Allen. I'm an attorney for ibew Local 1288. Let me begin by saying that if mlgw had not come to the bargaining table in this case, intent on taking health care and sick leave benefits away from its employees and refusing to bargain over them while coming to this council and asking for a rate increase, we would not be before the council at impasse. I have reviewed the tape recordings of the collective bargaining sessions between mlgw and the union, and it is absolutely clear that the division approached those sessions with the position that the union must take every item of its proposal to cut health and life insurance and its new dental plan as a package, or we would wind up exactly where we are today, and that is at impasse. When the union attempted to discuss or negotiate certain items in the insurance plan, the division said it's a package deal. We'll consider implementation of the plan over some period of time, 2, 3, or maybe even 4 years, but there's no change to be made in the plan. The division's position was just like saying, I'm going to cut your hand off. If you'd like, I'd do it one finger at a time, one time this year, one time next year, one time maybe 4 years from now, but ultimately I'm going to take off your whole hand. The division has stated during impasse proceedings, and I believe will probably state again before this council, that the determination of which offer is to be accepted is an issue of fiscal responsibility. However, the subject of fiscal responsibility should be turned back to division management to reflect on itself. Why are so many non-bargaining unit employees and managers making exorbitant salaries? You have 10 people in management at Light, Gas, and Water making about $1 million. Why is so much money being spent on travel by mlgw managers? Why are so many managers driving company vehicles, taking them home, and having car allowances at a time when this type of perk is being eliminated from other areas of government? I don't have specific answers to these
questions because the division said it would cost well over $1,000 when the union requested this information to find out. The real reason I don't have this information, nor do you, is because they don't want the council to know. The division wants to treat itself as if it were a private utility company, not responsible to this council nor the taxpayers. It wants to keep this council ignorant of the facts and have it formulate an opinion based only upon the information they spoon-feed it. MLGW has come to the council requesting a rate increase, which I believe they contend would raise the average ratepayer's bill about $3.76 per month. I believe it was also estimated that if the union's proposal were accepted, this would add an additional 30 cents per month. The MLGW's justification for its rate increase is a vague one based upon accumulated debt. That's management at MLGW. During the course of the impasse proceedings, we have pointed out some of these areas of slush funds within the MLGW for training, travel, and other perks. Why hasn't the division cut some of these unnecessary areas and given the average employee the ability not to lose ground? All we're asking for is that the average employee in the bargaining unit at MLGW not end up at a loss as a result of these impasse negotiations. There has been an indication by some council members that they are not inclined to give MLGW employees more than the 3% awarded other city employees. However, MLGW employees are not treated the same as city employees for other purposes. Retired City of Memphis employees pay nothing for health insurance. MLGW retirees pay premiums. MLGW employees under the division's proposal will have increased contribution costs to health insurance, which would in some cases totally eliminate any raise, even at their own 3%. Further, the union has requested the upgrade of certain jobs in order to put them on parity with equivalent city jobs. A plumber at MLGW is in a lower classification than a plumber for the city. The proposal to upgrade jobs is aimed at creating parity. The proposal to, if you were to follow the argument that MLGW employees do not deserve more than any other city employee, then you still can't accept MLGW's proposal because to do so would place MLGW employees in a worse condition than other city employees. The impasse procedure before the council is, there's no other word for it, inequitable. Everybody thinks that. It promotes disharmony and penalizes one party or the other when legitimate proposals are left unresolved. I didn't write it, neither did you. Certainly the union did not write it. As a matter of fact, I know who wrote it. Division management wrote it. And they knew exactly how to use it to force its position upon its employees. The question is whether this council intends to allow the division to write an impasse procedure, refuse to negotiate in good faith over the terms of an agreement, and then use that same impasse procedure to hurt its retirees, lower-paid employees, and those employees with legitimate illnesses who are in fact the most defenseless people in the process. You may not like all aspects of the union's or MLGW's proposal. Therefore, you must consider the least offensive proposal. This is not a fight over upgrading jobs. This is not a fight over holidays. This is not even a fight over 3% versus a 3.5% raise. This is really a fight over this company's unilateral implementation of an insurance plan and a sick leave policy that penalizes those persons least able to protect themselves. Should you accept MLGW's proposal, you must realize that you will be creating the following scenarios. Number one, retirees drawing minimum salary of $750 a month or $9,000 a year will have to pay $700 per year for one hospital stay. That's 7.5% of their income. If an employee gets sick and is making $18,000 a year in 1993, even with the raise, they will end up with a net loss in pay of $151 and still have an additional $360 to pay for this proposed dental insurance plan, which only pays a half of your benefits, but charges you an exorbitant premium. If that same employee happens to be hospitalized for the third time, he or she will start losing pay. The contract doesn't speak to what occurs on the fourth or fifth time illness occurs. I don't know how much more benefits they're going to lose. While all this is going on, the division is offering $12.50 a month benefit to go to the health spa. A benefit only used by those who can afford it. The division is giving cars to its management staff. The division is spending close to $500,000 on travel, and the division has has one non-bargaining unit employee or management employee for every 3 bargaining unit employees. Management proposals are designed to have the greatest impact on bargaining unit employees. To a manager making $80,000, the cost of health insurance is negligible. But it is not to a utility worker or somebody in a lower paid classification making about $20,000. It's clear to me, and I'll close, it's clear to me that MLGW's proposals will hurt the people who need help the most. Those working men and women of this community who have dedicated their lives to the betterment of this city deserve better treatment than this. They deserve fairness and equity. I would rather pay a few more cents on my utility bill since I live in the city of Memphis and know that the money is specifically going into the pockets of division employees to support their families so that they can participate in the economy of Memphis rather than pay some extra cents to the division and have that money disappear into some management slush fund, which I guarantee you is where it's going to disappear. I therefore respectfully request that you veto the impasse committee's recommendation and accept the union's last best offer.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question of Mr. Allen, if that's the last card? Mr. Allen, if you could come to the mic, please.
Yes.
Question I have to ask, and I want to make sure I understood you correctly because this is a very important question to me. It sounded as if you said that the company, MLG&W, refused to negotiate on some items during the negotiating period and then told you that those items were negotiable later on. Is that what you're saying?
Something similar to that. What I'm saying is that MLGW came to the table with this insurance package and said, this is our insurance package. We can sit here and talk about it, but it's a package deal. We're not going to change it. Either you agree to what we talk about in this package, or we don't have a deal. You take it or you leave it. Later on, when we got to the impasse procedure, they said, oh, we would have talked about that.
Okay.
But they didn't talk about it, and I got the tapes if you want to hear them.
Okay, Councilman Marshall.
Chairman, I want to thank all of those who are present. I know this is a tough issue, and quite honestly, as serving and having the honor to serve on behalf of the union on the impasse committee, I can honestly state that the procedure is flawed. I agree with Mr. Ashwell. I agree with Mr. Allen. It's a stacked deck against you, and I want to tell you, all of you, that no matter what happens tonight, I promise to do my best to rework that ordinance and make it work in everybody's benefit next time around. Mr. Chairman, I can't support Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, and I'd like to point out 2 specific reasons that are harmful and unfair. First of all, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water asks that on the 3rd incident of sick leave that the employee will lose his sick leave benefit. That's totally regardless of the what legitimacy may occur. I mean, there might be it's completely within the realm of possibility that a person can get sick 3 times. This puts the presumption of guilt on the employee instead of the presumption of innocence, and that's just unfair. In addition to that, as Councilman Wilman pointed out, and I heard the tape, and it was pretty unbelievable. In fact, it moved quite a few of us, I think all of us on the committee. MLGW came to the table and said that we have a health care package that cannot be changed, take it or leave it. That's not fair. That's not fair, Mr. Chairman, and I'll tell you why. Because the spiraling upward cost of health care is incredible. I think of the senior citizens on a fixed income that are having to deal with these costs, just continuing to erode their base. their very livelihood. People in their own homes, locked up, almost imprisoned, afraid because they don't have the money to be free. And this society is amazing to me, because all their money is going to pay their health care, a time when health care is most important to them. Mr. Chairman, we have talked about fiscal responsibility, but I think we have a moral responsibility to all of these people out here. My moral responsibility tells me that I'd rather invest $4 million in these people rather than $8 million in a building any day.
Councilwoman McCormick.
Mr. Ashwell, I have a question, if you don't mind coming back.
Yes, ma'am.
If the move to override to veto the decision is in effect, it passes tonight, what effect will that have on your retired employees, such as the gentleman who came up and spoke to us about their health care? Are you taking care of the retirees?
It takes care of them to a degree. We agreed at the bargaining table to increase the deductible from $200 to $250 the first year. Sit down again in 1993 to look to see what we need to do in 94. We also agreed to go up on some of the co-pays and some of the other things. It doesn't eliminate the first dollar coverage on the mlgw plan, which about 85% of the retirees are on. The plan now covers the first $2,000 at 100%. We proposed that remain the same. We didn't change that. The company's proposing changing it, which that's what the increase out of pocket is on the front end of that. If you look at that, if you drop it and go to an 80-20 split, that means that, and they want to do it over 2 years, which is $1,000 a year. That's $200 a year for that retiree, and that plan is probably got at least 85% of our retirees on it. So theirs is going to have an impact on the retirees, yes ma'am. Ours doesn't have as much of an impact. It does increase the deductible $50, but it kept the out-of-pocket the same.
All right, thank you. You answered.
Yes ma'am.
Councilman Moore.
Mr. Simonson, you mentioned, sir, and didn't get through what you were starting to say, what affects the unions. If we accepted the union's proposal and the company proposal, I'd like for you to cover that for me, if you would. Well, what effect would that have on retirees if we voted for the union's proposal first?
Frankly, both of them will have an effect on the retirees.
Sir?
I say, frankly, both of them would have an effect on retirees.
What kind of effect?
Because the deductible will increase either way. As I understand it, the union's proposal is less severe in the long run than management's. Management has some included in their package that would go up 25% the first year, and then more so the second year. And also, we have not been informed whether the premiums are going to increase, decrease, or just whether they're going to go there. So we don't really know. As far as the retirees, they may know more about it than we do, but we haven't had any communication in that respect. So we don't really know. We know it's not really good at the present time because what has been proposed and what they're talking about. The union negotiates for their present employees, which will be future retirees. But today we're talking about the retirees that are already on the roll, and that is the difference.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Crawford, it's been mentioned that, and I heard this yesterday, that Light, Gas, and Water is paying some employees membership at the tune of $12.50 per month to join a spa. I'd like to know, sir, your comments on this, but I'd like to know what spa this is and why this.
If I might, I would like Ms. Peggy Prater Harvey to come up and address that.
Okay.
The reason I say that, one thing that was said earlier about that wasn't available to all employees, and certainly it would be, but it's part of our overall health program of trying to people stay healthy, and we can address that. By the way, I'm not a member of a health spa, so...
The proposal is that we pay up to $150 on a membership for any employee to join a fitness club or exercise. That is a part of our wellness proposal and our wellness package. Our health care package is based on the concept of preventive health, and it is an effort to curb illness and keep employees fit. So it is not, we think, a luxury, and that is, again, available to all employees, and is they pay part of the package also.
It is available to all
employees.
All employees.
All employees.
What do you estimate the cost of this?
We have spent about $50,000. There are only about 40 employees available, and that's over a 2-year period.
Of course, you know, I commend you for that, but at the same time, I criticize you for it because, number one is, I don't know any one on this council other than maybe one or two that belong to a health spa, and they probably don't go, but let me say that it bothers me when we start talking about taking benefits away from a health program for employees, then we're turning around and spending this kind of money for them to go to a health spa. You know, some members of this council just returned from a meeting of the National League of Cities, and at that meeting, everybody from all over America have the same problem, and that's money. But it was also, in one meeting that I attended, it was stated that most government employees, 75% of all government employees, in a survey that was taken throughout America, said that there was tremendous waste in government, and they were questioned as to what percentage they thought was wasted, and they said 49%. The point I'm making, I believe this health spa, $12.50 a month of the $50,000 plus whatever you're going to spend is a waste of money, and I think that we need to look in those areas. We need to look in those areas and see if we can't come up with something equitable. When I sit down here tonight, I was leaning in one direction, but there's a lot of good points been made here tonight, and as I look at the increase that you're asking for, then as was pointed out by Mr. Ashwell, or the attorney one, that it would take only 30 cents to do the union's proposal, and we're looking at $3.76 for buildings and different things. And as all of you know, I have certainly been a people person, and I feel like the people of this community, first of all, need to be taken care of. So I still have not made up my mind which way I'm going to vote, but I have real problems with things like health spas and these type things, especially since it's been pointed out throughout the League of Cities. Not just criticizing you, Mr. Crawford, I have all the respect in the world for you, but I do think there's a tremendous waste in government. I've said it not only at Light, Gas, and Water, but in the city of Memphis, and I think it's time that we buckle our belts and cut the waste out, and hopefully then there'll be money left to do the things that you want to do, plus what the employees want. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Respectfully, Councilman Moore, we started the memberships as a result of employee input, and it